Okay folks, here we are looking at drawing two different curves on the same set of axes. Now notice we're sketching from minus 90, which means from here to 270. So we cannot move outside of those two lines because the domain has been specified as that. Okay, so I'm going to try and get you to start breaking away from drawing the other curves in here before you do your changes to them. So maybe just focus on drawing the coordinates of the critical points, coloring them in on the diagram, and then transforming accordingly. Let's just change this again to 1, 2, and 3. That is minus 1, minus 2, minus 3. So I'm going to pause at this stage, or you must pause at this stage. Draw your diagrams and then we'll talk about them. Okay, let's see how you fared in this one. It is our 8th video. Okay, so let's start with sine. Over this particular domain, sine will start at 0, it will maximize at 1, come down to 180, and then minimize here at 270. Then it will go down to minus 90. That's all I'm going to do. Now I'm going to take those points and I'm going to transform them by doubling up the y values, because that's what this suggests. So minus 1 times by 2 gives me minus 2, so that's a point. This is 0 times minus 2, so that stays 0. This is 1 times 2, which takes this point and puts it on the point 91. Here's a 0 y value times 2 remains at 0, and this is minus 1 times 2, which go down to minus 2. So curve your hand, your curve, as you go through those points. No sharp edges, no dents. Sometimes it is a bit difficult, but try and keep your hand as steady as possible. Okay, now folks, again, like before, if we continue this curve, it would have repeated itself once over 360 degrees. Okay, so the period remained the same. The amplitude, however, is 2. Okay, as we can see clearly on this graph. Now let's go and look at your cosine curve. Your cosine curve behaves differently. It starts at 1, goes to 90, goes to minus 1, and zeros at 270. Then here it will come down and 0 at 90. Now that's the mother curve. What does it suggest then? Add 1 to each of the y values. So here's 0 plus 1 means the curve will pass through that point. This is 1 plus 1 means the curve passed through that point. This is 0 plus 1, the curve is moving up to that point. Here we've got minus 1 plus 1, the curve will go through 180. And here we have, this is for my cosine curve. Remember, the cosine has a negative there. Their cosine has a 0 again, and I add 1, and my curve lands up in that position. So curve again, curve carefully. You go back to 90. You're going to the minimum point, which is here at 180. We turn, and then we go back to the point that lie over there. Now this will be the exit point 270 and 1. This is the exit point 270 and what is it, minus 2 for the sine curve. Here's the entry point, minus 90 degrees and 1 for the green curve, and the entry point here is minus 90 degrees and negative 2. The turning point clearly at 90 and 2 rather, and those turning points where they are over here, and the 2 turning points that lie on the green curve. So give yourself a pat on the back if you got this question right. It is really not that difficult, folks. I think that takes care of what we did with our vertical translations as applying to the sine and cosine curve.